Hello, welcome to Wednesday's ESPN FC Live. Mark Donaldson and Stevie Nicol with you. Today, well, it's an international break, so we're looking bigger picture. Lamine Yamal, 18 years old and injured right now, so has a week off, isn't playing for Spain, could be back for the Clásico, but is he suffering from burnout already? And it's October, which is nearly January, which is nearly the transfer window, so we'll talk transfer speculation. Of course, we will. And Craig Burley on last night's ESPN FC speaking about Mohamed Salah. And I want to get Stevie's take on that. There's been a little bit of criticism about him. But we're going to start with Lamine Yamal, Stevie. Now, just going back to your career, and I know things are different now, but football's the same. Lamine Yamal, before his 18th birthday, he'd already played more than 100 games. And also, that's what, nearly 1,000 and whatever it is minutes. The problem that he has right now is that Barcelona can't keep him out the side when he's fit, but people are saying you shouldn't be playing him all the time because of burnout. You made your debut for Ayr at 18. You played for Liverpool when you were 20. Compare and contrast for me. How does this compare with Lamine Yamal playing all these games before he's even 18 and you getting the experience and only going in the side when you were ready?
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's at the end of the day, you play when you're at a certain level to play, and you can look at it as fortunate or unfortunate that Lamine Yamal has had so many games, but yet he's not even 18 years old, whereas I didn't make my debut till I was 18. And I would suggest for me that was a good thing. I think we forget that young players physically haven't matured. Certainly at 16, 17, and 18, your body hasn't matured whatsoever. It hasn't reached its peak, and so when you put so much stress on it, it weakens it. And so initially, with Yamal playing all these games is fine, but because he's not at his full strength physically, then it's basically overload on that, in my opinion, and that doesn't bode well for the future. A football career should probably last at least a decade. If you've played so many games and you're not even 18 years of age, I would suggest the percentages or the chances of you having a clean run for the next 10 years are pretty slim. Because as I say, I think when you're so young and you're putting so much stress on your body's not yet ready to carry that workload, and so that will weaken. And it happens to different players in different places in their body where they gain a weak spot, and it looks like Yamal's got a weak spot right now.
Okay, what's the solution?
Well, it's really easy when you're sat here the way I am, or anybody else outside of Barcelona. The solution is that you taper his minutes for his physical well-being. But unfortunately, there's a little thing called winning football matches, and unfortunately, when you're arguably the best player in the team, the sensible thing to do is not always the sensible choice that's actually taken. And so Hansi Flick and Barcelona are between a rock and a hard place. And the only way it changes is if Yamal himself speaks up and says, I can't do this. Because otherwise, they're going to keep playing him.
As a talented youngster that went on to have a brilliant career, you've spoken to me a lot about playing through little knocks because you didn't want to lose your spot. Lamine Yamal's never going to say, Gaffer, I know it's Girona this week and that's their next game. And I know he's injured right now, but he's not going to say that. Kids just want to play football.
Yeah.
So how do you manage him? Because he's going to want to play every single game. The season ticket holders are going to want to see him play every minute of every single game. They don't care when he's 29 years old in 11 years' time if he played too much when he was an 18-year-old. This is all about the now, right now. You can see, can't you, why this is an issue, and there's there's two sides to this story.
Well, again, other than Yamal speaking up, and as you said, he's not even 18. He's not going to turn around and say, I'm not playing. That then shifts up to, you think about the medical staff that teams have now. Every single thing they do is monitored. And so it means that whoever's in charge of the medical side of Barcelona, he's going to have to be the one that sticks up for Yamal. He's going to have to be the one who says, look, I understand he wants to play, but I am telling you that, in my opinion, in my scientific and medical opinion, if he keeps continuing to play as many minutes, as many games, further down the line, maybe sooner than you think, maybe a month, 2 months, 6 months, we don't really know, there's going to be a breakdown. And again, that is the only way it changes. Unfortunately, even if the medical staff say that, the manager is probably still going to have the final decision. And if I'm the manager of Barcelona and it's a Clásico and I need to win the game, then I'm going to say, okay, I'll give it one more game. And then the whole process starts again the next week, because then you need to win again. Well, I'll wait another week. And before you know it, before you're 18, you've played over 100 games.
38, 48, 47. That's the three kind of appearance totals per season once you broke into the Liverpool side. 86, 87, you played 21 games, you had an injury. Then you had 50 and 52 games. Did you ever think about burnout? Was that a thing when you played?
No, I can't honestly say, and I don't believe you're talking about the game's changed. I would suggest the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems we had, wasn't completely the amount of games. It was the recovery and the travel that was our biggest battle, in my opinion. Today they play the game, they get on a bus, 20-minute ride to an airport somewhere, they get on a flight, which is probably an hour flight, if it, at the most, another half an hour on the bus, and they're probably home within 3 or 4 hours of a game. We'd be sitting on a bus, if we were playing Norwich or somewhere in London or down in Portsmouth. I mean, you're talking about sitting on a bus, if you're lucky, for 5.5 hours. And if there's traffic, it can reach 7. I mean, that's the day before a game and then after the game. So, I think there's no question today, it's the amount of games. I think it's the recovery and the travel that was the biggest problem against us. Because when you compare the numbers that you've just given there, people will say, well, that's not, some guys are playing 70 games. Well, guys are playing 70 games, but they are way better looked after. The cold baths and all the other stuff. And as I said, the biggest one's the travel. They don't have to endure what we did. So, listen, it's swings and roundabouts, but at the end of the day, whether you're 17 or 18, it's the same thing, and you need to be looked after.
A lot of questions about this from viewers. Thank you for that. One of them is this: when you were a manager, did any player ever come to you and say, "Hey, Gaffer, I'm shattered. Can I get this week off? I'm tired."
Yeah, a couple of times. Shauri Joseph came to me and said, "I am just done," and so you would just give him an extra day off, basically, to let him recover. Again at that stage with the revolution, we didn't have the greatest recovery equipment. Cold baths and all of these things. We had a couple, but not enough for a squad. So yeah, you have to be smart. I would taper the training down, particularly in the summer with the heat. You try and taper the heat down, the training down. And of course, when you do that, the same person, Shauri, would complain that he wanted to train longer. So, you're constantly fighting a battle. But yeah, Shauri was the one I remember coming to me saying, I'm shattered, and I'd be like, well, just, hey, see tomorrow, stay in your bed.
But it's different for different players, isn't it? Because I spoke about when you played, and there was a fair few of your Liverpool teammates. You weren't the first name on the team sheet, no disrespect, but you played if you were available, so you would play through little things. That doesn't happen anymore. There's too many games right now. Is that an issue?
I don't think there's absolutely any doubt that there is way too many games, way too many competitions, and I've said it on ESPN FC. The only way to change it is if the players get together and do something about it. You know, we saw with the Club World Cup in the summer there. I mean, just too much, just way too much, and it's not changing. You know, even the World Cup now, they've expanded it. That means more games, and then they're looking to expand it even more. Again, more games. Everything's more games, and not enough time to recover. So yeah, it's getting ridiculous, and you know, the players' union clearly are not doing enough about it. Whether it's the amount of games or whether it's players like Yamal who should be looked after a little better, they're not doing enough because they don't have power. The people that have the power are the players ultimately. And if they get together and make a stand, then that's the only way there'll be change.
Let me play devil's advocate, though. And I say to a player, if they come to me and say, we're playing too many games, I'm saying, hold on. You're being paid what you're being paid because there are as many games. We can afford to pay you what we're paying you because if it's not a World Cup year or a European Championship year, we're going off to Australia or the Middle East or the United States to play in these lucrative friendlies. And that is why you're getting paid as much as you're getting paid. So if I was to turn around and say, okay, fine, we'll give you less games, which ain't going to happen, but you've also got to take less money. What does the player say then?
Well, then you have to make a decision. What's more important? Your health or the money? You know, at the end of the day, regardless, you have to make decisions. And sometimes the best decision is not an easy one. And so I think that absolutely would be everybody's retort to any player. Okay, then you're getting less money. Well, that means the players have to make a decision. And if they make if they make the decision to take the money, then guess what? You're going to have to shut up and just play. You know, so it really is. It's obviously a complicated. It's complicated, right? It's not just straightforward. But at the end of the day, you can make it straightforward because if that's your choice, do I take the money or do I prefer my health? Then make your decision. But once you make it, don't complain.
One final one on Lamine Yamal. He's so good to watch, right? From a neutral perspective, just a brilliant young player. Is there a danger, given the number of games he's playing right now? We've already seen it. He got hurt on international duty in September and is missing this international period. There's another international break next month as well. Is there a danger that in 10 years' time that we don't get the Lamine Yamal that we may have got if he wasn't playing as early as he was? Could this curtail, ultimately, a career of one of the top stars of the generation?
Oh, 100%. And it really is down to the DNA and how the Yamal's built. You know, people can throw at you, well, look at Messi. Messi was playing since he was 16, or, you know, but some people are just freaks of nature. But most of us have the body we have that is normal and can only take so much. So unless Yamal has some sort of extraordinary DNA and some sort of extraordinary bone structure and all of these things, then with the amount of games he's playing, you have to say the odds are against, in 10 years' time, him not picking up a lot of injuries. I mean, we're talking about it now. He's not even 18, and this season's been a bit of a stop-start because of injuries. So, what do you think? It's just all? Do you think it's just all going to disappear magically with a wee shake of a wand? No, it's going to take common sense and smarts and looking after somebody properly.
We don't all have the same body composition as you. What was your worst Friday night diet of chocolate and crisps or chips that you can remember, and then you went out and played the next day?
Well, because you can burn it off. I mean, that's the key. You burn it off, dead easy. And again, you only get away with that when you're young. You know, once you start hitting late 20s, 30s, you don't get away with that stuff. It all contributes in the end to slowing you down and all the other things that come along with it. So you can get away with it for a period, but not forever.
You did all right in your career. Right, let's move on. We're close enough to January, aren't we? For some transfer speculation. Ronald Araujo's been linked with Liverpool. Let's make this a little bit of a bigger picture.
Please don't say that.
No, thanks.
No thanks. We're good, thanks.
Yes. The reason I'm taking a bigger picture, because I knew that was coming back to me. So I'm going to return the serve, and I'm going to say you're in charge of Liverpool's recruitment. Are you happy to wait until next summer and go back in for Guehi? Do you want to make another move for him in January? Because you're clearly not interested in Araujo. So who are you looking for? Who's Stevie Nicol want to partner Virgil van Dijk going forward?
Yeah, I think Guehi is absolutely the one. But right now, you have to be able to. I mean, there's no question. Konate right now is struggling big time. And whilst there's not the ability really to make a like-for-like replacement for him, to give him a break or to get him back in form, then they have to sign somebody, in my opinion, in January. And if it means it's somebody that just does a job, then that's what they have to do. I think in the long term, there's no question Guehi would be the answer. But right now, Konate and Liverpool are showing that they need some strength in the back. They need, maybe a Joe Gomez coming back and staying fit. But again, can you rely on that? I don't think so. So I think they need in January to go and strengthen. And as I said, short-term replacement, and then you get the man you really want next summer in the transfer window.
We can talk about Konate potentially going to Real Madrid as well, which a bit bizarre if he's not good enough for Liverpool. If Guehi was to come in, why would Real Madrid want him? But we'll get onto that and other things shortly. But staying with Liverpool a little bit further up the field, there was a discussion that you and Craig had on FC last night, and it was to do with Mohamed Salah and his work rate and how he doesn't have Trent behind him anymore. And there seems to be some sort of issue with whether it's Salah not getting back or finding a right back that's needing a little bit of help. Let's find out what Craig said about this and then get Stevie's response. This is from last night's FC.
You be kind to him, I'm not, because he is seeing the picture of the fullback running forward. And Maresca and Chelsea must have looked at the early Liverpool games and went, he's going to cheat. He's not bothered about running back. So when we win it, I want you, Cucurella, to get on your front foot and drive forward, because we'll have a 2-on-1 down that side. I don't care who he is. I don't care what his stats say. I don't care how much he's getting paid. I don't care if he's the talisman of Liverpool over however many years. I don't care. Liverpool, performance-wise, not in terms of points, but performance-wise, have been struggling since the Community Shield, if we're being honest. Into the Bournemouth game, into all the other league games. These defeats have been coming. And you cannot have people in your side, particularly when the balance of your side is struggling, as the midfield is, particularly when you've got two new fullbacks and your back four struggling. You can't have people just letting players run off them. You can't have it. That's down to work rate and desire. Now, if his form going forward continues in the manner in which it has been, and his lack of defensive duties continue in the manner that we saw at Chelsea at the weekend, he's going to have to be dropped. He'll have to be. They'll have to find somebody that hasn't got the skill set of Mo Salah, but is at least going to put a shift in and come back and help the fullback. That's kind of where he is.
Stevie Nicol, Mohamed Salah dropped.
Look, when you're the coach of any team, there only has to be one major thing that you look after, and that's the actual team, and it's not individuals. And yes, certain players have what we would call money in the bank, where you give them time to perform, but eventually that runs out, regardless of who you are. And right now, Mo Salah is struggling big time. Arne Slot has already shown that he's not afraid to have somebody sitting on the bench. Florian Wirtz, coming in for over 100 million, found himself after half a dozen games sitting on his backside. So, Arne Slot's shown that he's not scared to make decisions. But, Mohamed Salah right now is slowly getting close to the point where he's going to make Arne Slot make a decision. And again, to Craig's point, as footballers, we all understand that every time you step on the field, you can't be at your brilliant best. But what you can do is give something to the team. And if it's not going forward, then it's going backwards. And somebody has to have a little word with Salah and just remind him of that. I personally think that his head's all over the place. I think he's wondering what's going on. He's trying to figure out why he's not performing. And so when your head's a little scrambled, you kind of don't see things and you don't react quick enough. So right now, I'm willing to give Mo Salah another bit of time to sort himself out, because he deserves that. What he's done for Liverpool and for the club, he deserves a little bit more time. As I said, he's got a little bit left in the bank, but eventually, Arne Slot's going to have to make a decision if nothing changes with the performances of Mohamed Salah.
This fascinates me, because you don't become an average player overnight when you're a world-class player one season. And the talk of, he's not getting back and help defensively. Connor Bradley played right back at times last season. Joe Gomez played right back at times last season. Liverpool still won the game and Mohamed Salah still scored the goals. Is it not more let's look for a scapegoat, what they're doing right now? Should they not be kind of saying, well, hold on a minute here. You've seen Florian Wirtz and all the new signings as well. Maybe it's just a case of patience that's required, because you've got new fullbacks that are there, because you've got new players in the attack. It might just be, once it clicks, everything will be fine. But is it because we live in a world right now that if something doesn't work one week, we have to rip it up and start again? Salah's not the biggest issue here, is he?
No, but he is one of the issues. And Liverpool, unfortunately, have many issues. If the other 10 around Salah were at their best, playing well, and Salah's not taking his chances or just not performing, then you can get away with it. The problem is when everybody around Salah is performing pretty much the same as he is, then you have to make decisions. And again, this is not a knee-jerk reaction. Liverpool have played, 8 games this season so far? And they haven't put in a decent performance in those 8 games. I mean, they haven't. The fact that they're sitting second in the league is a testament to the ability they have, that they can, as poor as they've been, take the chances that have come along. And there haven't been that many of them, but when they have come, Liverpool have found a way of putting the ball in the back of the net. So yeah, this is not a knee-jerk reaction. This is certainly not looking for a scapegoat. This is looking for a solution. And Mo Salah, along with probably 5 or 6 others, could be part of the solution, depending on what Arne Slot thinks. If he thinks Mo Salah is going to sit and be the best option for the team, then that's what's going to happen. And if it's somebody else, then he'll do that as well. So yeah, this is not a scapegoat thing. This is facts. We're looking at facts here. Mo Salah and a lot of others are just not performing. And not only are they not performing, they're getting the basics so wrong that it seems incredible with the amount of talent and experience they have, they could possibly be performing so badly.
Back to the transfer speculation to end today's ESPN FC Live. Rodri's an interesting one because he's been linked with Real Madrid. Forget who he's been linked with for a minute. The fact that he's suffered another injury, if he moves on from Manchester City, whoever decides that he's the one for them, is this now a concern that he picked up that injury last year and was out for a long time? It's not a case of being injury prone, but you want someone you hope's going to play 38 out of 38 games in a season. Is this now a red flag that he's suffered another injury, Rodri?
No, not at all. Again, you got to look at the big picture, and you got to be rational about things. And when you've missed the amount of time that he has with that one particular injury, I'm listening to everybody talking about him, going when he's coming back and thinking he's just going to be exactly how he was. All you got to do is look at Virgil van Dijk. It took Virgil van Dijk most of the season after his long layoff to get back to the Virgil van Dijk that we know. Mm-hmm. And so Rodri's been back for how long? 3 months? Well, so again, we need to calm down. And the only way Man City would sell Rodri to Real Madrid is if they know something that's not quite right that nobody else knows, and figure that we better get rid before, or whilst we can. So yeah, I think that sort of talk is a little premature, and Rodri needs a lot more time. And the fact that he's picking up those little injuries really should be an indicator to the people at Manchester City that they need to slow down his rehabilitation, and not get him back just quite as soon as they think they should. If they think it's 2 weeks, make it 4 weeks. If they think it's 4 weeks, make it 6 weeks. Because you're talking about a Ballon d'Or winner. You're talking about a guy who can turn you from pretenders into champions, which is what he did. So, yeah, it's way too early to be talking about Rodri in terms of injury prone or anything else. But as I said, as far as the transfer is concerned, if he was to move in the next window, I would suggest he's got a bigger problem physically than Man City would be letting on.
Let's finish today with your second favourite topic, Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes. The way things are going at United right now, he's the captain. He takes it personally when things don't go right, which has happened a lot. I've spoken with Yanis and Xhaka about this as well, about his personal future and whether or not Manchester United is the right fit for him. Does he want to stay? What do you think? If you were Bruno Fernandes come the end of the season, are you thinking, if it's not getting any better, I'm better off out of here? Or are you thinking, nope, you know what? I've come through all this with them. I'm not going to jump ship now.
Well, I'll start off by saying that I don't think Bruno Fernandes owes Manchester United anything. He has been the one player throughout this turmoil that has produced, and he's not getting any younger. And so eventually, if he doesn't see any improvement around him, then I think he would be well within his rights to start thinking about himself and start thinking about the years that he has left. So I don't think it would be a surprise if things continued to be bad at United. I mean, at the end of the day, if United sell him, they'll get a good price for him, and Manchester United need money. Bruno Fernandes isn't getting any younger, so maybe the end of this season would be a good time financially to get a good price for him. So it might actually work out beneficial for both. But certainly in terms of Bruno Fernandes, he doesn't owe Man United anything. He's stuck with them through the turmoil of the last few years. And because he's certainly on the wrong side of his career, then nobody should complain if he starts thinking about what he wants for the years that he has remaining. And that would be some sort of success.
Mm-hmm. Well, he turned 31 last month. And in the summer, he rejected the chance to move to the Saudis' Al Hilal. But there's still interest there. We remain to see what happens with Bruno Fernandes and his long-term future, if it's at Manchester United or if it is elsewhere. So there you go. International week. I know Stevie's very excited about all the games coming up. ESPN FC Live returns next week. Enjoy your international games, everyone. Bye.